Welcome to this video tutorial for Affinity Photo, which is looking at adding a word cloud and using a word cloud on your portrait images. I'm going to have to split this over two videos, but the introduction will be the same for both. This originally started from a magazine tutorial which I saw, which added the word cloud over half a face like this one, and then I slightly adapted that to put the text behind rather than on the face. And the last one is an adaptation of a couple of Photoshop tutorials where we're using the word cloud over the sort of the whole of the image. I personally think this is the better version. I'm not a big fan of either of these, but I will show how I got to them in case you want to use that. So coming to the internet, so we're gonna the introduction is looking at making the word clouds. Now in the magazine article and in a couple of other videos I've watched, they recommend using Wordle, which is just wordle.net. A couple of videos I've watched, they do admit that there is some problems with this website, that some people can't use it. I am one of those people. My browsers will either not touch it or my firewall blocks it. I can get to a certain point and then it just won't make the word cloud. And I'm not going to turn off my exceptions for my firewall just to be able to use this. But you may not have a problem with it, and as the magazines and whatever you recommend it, I'm guessing it is one of the better ones, but I personally can't use it, so I'm going to ignore it. So the two I'm going to show you are wordart.com and wordclouds.com. I will add links to both of these in the description for the videos. So let's start with wordclouds.com. Right, you have all the options along the top here, and it's got first time user, use our wizard. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on type or paste text, and I've got some text here. I'll just copy that, and then I will paste that into this box here, and then just click apply. The next part of the wizard, it does, you can read this and see what it says, but I'll just close that. So as you can see, it's just already made up a word cloud here, but as also you can see up here, there are 12 words that have not been drawn, but I'll come back to that later. So the first thing I want to do is to change the font. So I'm going to go with Arial, and you may have noticed that I've used all capitals. The videos and magazine article both said that it's best to use capitals rather than upper and lowercase, so that is what I have done, and I think it works quite well. Next I'm going to go with let's go with shape. There's various shapes you can pick. Let's say for example this Christmas tree. If I click on that, it will try and fit those words into a Christmas tree shape, but for my purposes I'm going to go with a square. So this has now brought this to 5 words not drawn. Right, so next we're going to have a theme. Now this is just the colour themes here. So I'm going to click on the grey on a white background, but I do actually want this to be white on a black background. You can invert this, which I thought it would invert the colours, but it's inverted where the letters are placed. So I'm going to have to physically change the colours. So I'll come to colours, and here we got the white background and the grey text. So what I'll do is I'll click on this grey area, then click on the white box, and then come to the background and click on the black box, and then click apply. So now I have my white text on a black background. So that's the font, theme, shape done. And then we have gap size. Now it starts off at 0. That's just how much space is between the different words. Let's try it on 10, so there's a bit more space between the words. Sometimes this is helpful because sometimes if there's like 0 space between words, you could end up having 2 words joining together that make up another word, and people may think you've misspelt something or you're trying to say something different. But if there's a bit of space between the words, that's less likely to happen, but you could leave it on 0. And then the last one is this round arrow here. If I click on that, you can pick on whether you want them all to be horizontal or vertical, or horizontal and diagonal, or just randomize them, which is what it's currently set on. But I'm going to go with horizontal and vertical. So we've now got most of this finished. All we need now, we've got 7 words that are not drawn. And this is where this slider comes in. You can move it left and right. If I move this down, say like -13, there's now 4 words not drawn. -17, 1 word not drawn. Let's try. See, the difference between -17, there was 1 word not drawn. I've gone to -18, and it's 4 words not drawn. So it's a case of, I've got to -21. So now all the words that I placed in there are drawn within that square. And at this point you may want to close the gap slightly. Let's try move this down to 8. Yeah, see, because we've now gone back to 1 word not being drawn. Let me put that back to 10. Right, so once you're happy with the end result here, you just come to File and save as PNG. So this is the look at wordcloud.com finished. Let's have a look at word art. Now just click on the create now. Now with word art you can do a free word cloud, but there are some restrictions. If you want to sort of sign up and pay a bit, I'm not certain how much it is, you then don't have any restrictions, but I'm going to work with just the free version. It starts off with 2 words already inserted, and if I just click on visualize, that was a word cloud made up with just those 2 words. But I don't want those 2 words, so I'm going to just remove them. And unfortunately I can't just paste in a whole loads of words. You have to put in each one individually. So I've got caps lock on still, so I'll go with, and then add another one. This is where you need to keep an eye on your spelling. Right, so I've got 5. I'm not going to keep going doing more, but I'm going to start with these 5. So if you want, you could just go to visualize now and see what that looks like. So this is the words tab, and underneath here you've got some more tabs. So let's go with shapes. Now you've got all sorts of different shapes here. that you can try and fit it into. Let's try look at this ghost one and then go to visualize and see what that does. So there you have that image, but I'm going to go with geometric and I'm going to pick a square. So then I'm going to come to the font. Now the free version, you're only allowed a certain amount of fonts. If you sign up, you'll be allowed all these other fonts, but I'm just going to go with this one here, and then I'm going to go with layout. Now you could have them all vertical or random or what have you, but I'm going to go with the horizontal vertical option again. And the last tab is the style, which is where the colours we're going to pick. So I'm going to click on custom and just going to click on one of those coloured options there, and I'm going to just click on each one to remove them, and then I'm going to move this up here to the white corner. There you go, FFFF is white, and then click add to palette and close that. And then I'm going to change the background colour down to black. If it will let me, I'll just click on the square there and then apply. So I now have the black background with the white text. So that's all my various options picked, and I'm just going to go with visualize, and there we have word cloud made in a square, and it's randomly made them all different sizes using the same amount of words. So then all you've got to do is hang on, not save, let's cancel, download. You can download as a standard PNG or standard JPEG. If you want to come for these like better quality ones, you will have to sort of sign up and pay for these, but if you just go for the standard PNG, it will save that file for you. So that is a look at making the word clouds. So the next part will be the actual tutorials for the different options that you can do. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next part. Welcome to part 1 of 2 videos looking at adding word clouds to your portrait images. Now I'm going to use the wordclouds.com text file that I made if you watch the introduction part of this video in this version, and I'm going to be using the word cloud in the second video. So this is the one where you put the text over half the face, and I'm personally not a big fan of the end result of this. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but you can see from here, like when I was saying in the introduction about where certain words, if the gap is not too big, like because I had like here lover and eyes, but it now looks like lover eyes like all one word. But if you're not that worried about how much text you add on, that really wouldn't be an issue. So you can either go with a little bit of text where you can see all the words, or a lot of text where it doesn't really matter what the text was. Similarly with the background, you can either have a lot of text or a little bit of text. So I will get rid of these, we don't need these anymore. So we have a start image, and if you have cropped your image, it's probably a good idea to crop your image first just so you've really only got a head and shoulders image. Unfortunately, you would have to look at this picture of me all the way through this. I'm very sorry about that. And this is the word cloud image that I made previously. So let's start the tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to do is to duplicate this background layer just by right clicking the actual layer itself and coming to duplicate, or you can press Ctrl and J. I'll then highlight the background layer again, and I'm going to add a new blank pixel layer, and I'm going to flood fill that with black. And let me just turn off the top layer so you can see that it is there. And I will highlight the top layer now, and I will come to the selection brush, make sure that is on add, and let me just increase the size of this, and then make a selection. I'm only going to do a rough selection here. I mean, how precise you want to be, I will leave that up to you. But as most of this will be lost in a black background, you don't necessarily have to be that precise. Maybe not quite that bad. Let me reduce the size of that. That's a bit better. And then come to subtract and just take away any areas that you don't want selected. Right, I think that's good enough for what I need here. So once you have your image selected, you just need to click on Add Layer Mask, and then I can press Ctrl and D to get rid of the selection area. So then that black background is now showing through, and you can see just the image that we want. Now, we don't really need the shoulders and neck area here, so I'm going to make sure that the mask is selected, and I'm going to come to the brush tool and make sure that black is the color that we are using. I'm going to have a low opacity of about 30–40%, 0 hardness, and then it's just a case of painting black over these areas that we want to get rid of. So basically it's just these shoulders, and because of the low hardness we are using, it will sort of help blend it into the background gradually rather than just being a sudden loss of image, if you see what I mean. And I'll just maybe a bit of the lower neck here, just blending that in a bit. We just scoot that up slightly and just that's it. I think that'll do pretty much where I need it. Right, put that back there. Right, so now we need our word cloud image, so I'll come to that. I'll right click and do copy, or you can do Control and C. Come back to my portrait image, make sure it is the top layer that is highlighted, and then edit and paste. Now I'm going to, let me just move this into this, about there for example. As you can see, we have the black background, which we don't want, so if I change the blend mode of this to screen, that will lose all the black, and so we can just see the white. So let me put this back where it was. So now it's just a case of duplicating this and resizing it, repositioning it around the image. Now you want to decide whether you want to cover the whole image partially so you can read the words, or if you're not worried about reading the words, you can overlap them much more than I'm going to personally, but I'm going to just resize this first one slightly. So I'm going to hold down the control key and just move out that corner. And get that in the corner as best I can, about there. So it's just a case of, like I said, duplicating. You can do this in a number of ways. You can, if you right click this, you can come to duplicate, or you can press Control and J or Command and J. Another option is to hold down the, if you're on the move tool, if you hold down the Control Command key and then just click and drag, it will make another copy much quicker for you. Now you can rotate this. Now if I hold down the Shift key, it will do it in 15-degree angle, so it's easy to get it straight. So I've done it this, gone to the left, so I'm still getting a lot of words correctly horizontally, and they still look okay vertically. If I'd gone the other way, those words would have been upside down, the horizontal ones. You may not be bothered by that, but I'm going to try and, where possible, keep them at least horizontally being able to be read. So I'm going to put that there. So I'm just hold down the Control key and put another one there. Again, hold down the Control key. I'll resize this one. Put this down the bottom here. Again, hold the Control key. I'm going to rotate this one back that way. So it's just a case of keep going round and making new copies, and you can pick a different size layer that you had before and just find different ones that you want to use. Let's make this one smaller and sort of fill up these areas here. It's a bit time consuming, I admit, but right, so let's put one of those there. And right, let's try that one again. So I'm sorry it's taking so long, but it's like I said, it is a rather time-consuming part of this, but let's rotate that one. Right. And then I'll just copy a couple of these smaller ones down here just to fill up. Right, that will do. So as you can see, it is time consuming, but it will be worth it in the end. So I'm going to highlight the very top text layer, come down to the bottom text layer, do that again, sorry. Highlight the top text layer, come down to the bottom text layer, hold down the shift key, click the bottom one, so that will highlight all the text layers in between, and I can right click that and group those together. Now what I will do now is I will hide all the layers below, so we just have the text here, and then I'm going to right click this group and do merge visible, so I have all that text on a single layer. So I can now drag this group to the bottom, as I don't really need it at the moment. So once I have the just this pixel layer selected, if I come to the flood select tool, and I'm going to have a tolerance of about 30, and I'm going to untick contiguous. I'm going to go with new, and I'm just going to zoom in slightly, and I'm going to come to the text, and I'm just going to click on a white area of the text, and I'll zoom out again. So all that text is now selected, so I can now hide that layer. I can bring back all the other layers, and then make sure that is the top layer that is selected, and then click on add layer mask. So I can now press Ctrl and D to get rid of the text around the outside. So you could pretty much, if you wanted, leave the text, the image like that, to give you this all over the face type image. But as the point of this video is to make half the face visible, what I'm going to do is, I have the mask selected here, but I'm going to add a rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to draw over half the face. There we go, like that. Come to the brush tool, and if I get white as my foreground color, and I can now increase the opacity of this up to 100. I can also increase the hardness up to 100 as well, and because of the marquee selection area being here, it will protect the other side of the image. You can only paint on the mask to get rid of the area that is inside the marquee tool. So just reduce that size down, press Ctrl and D to get rid of the marquee tool, and basically that is that image finished. So that is one version that you could do. Now if you want to look at adding the text behind, we'll just sort of slightly go back. So if I just hide that mask for the minute, and I'll bring back this text layer, and again I'm going to use the flood select tool, tolerance of 30, contiguous is turned off. Let me just zoom in and click on those areas, zoom out again. So I can now hide that layer, and I'm going to add a new layer, at the top here, and I'm going to get the paintbrush tool and then I'm just going to pick a colour. Let's just go with this red colour, and I'll increase the brush size, and it will just paint on the text because that is what is selected. Let me just go with that. There we go. I think that's everything. So I'll come off this brush tool, press Ctrl and D to get rid of the text. So now we're going to want to add a layer mask to this. So what I need to do is to just click on the icon for this layer here, and I will hold down the Control key and double click, and it will make a selection of the area for that layer. So I'll come back to the top layer, and now I can't remember now whether it's the white layer mask or the black layer mask I need to be doing, so I'm going to go with the white one first, and hopefully that will be wrong way around. Let's try it with so if I hold down the Alt key and click on, no, that didn't work either. What I should be doing is inverting that selection, I think. Sorry about this, I lost track of where I was. Invert selection, so now we're selecting the outside. So now if I add the layer mask, there we go, I can now press Ctrl and D. So I now have my image with the text in the background. Sorry for my errors there, but I did lose track of where I was. But it's just a case of basically inverting the selection to make a layer mask to bring the face forward. So there you have the two different versions of this. So you can either have it with the text over the face or the text behind the face. So this is the end of this version, and then we'll look at a slightly different version in part 2. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.